As you listen to the sound of my voice, your heart is currently pumping blood through every organ in your body, traveling in arteries, veins, or smaller vessels, an essential internal mechanism we are aware of, but don't really notice until things go wrong, when the crimson fluid escapes our body. A drop can spark your curiosity, but a steady flow pooling around you with no end in sight might be more than you can bear. As your blood continues to make itself known, your body weakens. The mechanism is failing. Life is escaping you. In today's Elements of Horror, we will be exploring how this scarlet ingredient to our survival can also be an essential tool to the function of the horror genre. There is no shortage of blood in horror movies. These films seem to be entrusted with the task of finding new and creative ways to injure, wound, and dismember. Even the seemingly restrained movies start seeing red once they've entered the third act. Now this can be because the filmmakers are trying to play with our natural aversion to it, showcase the consequences of violence, or to simply fulfill their own bloodlust. Nevertheless, when we see blood, it instinctively alerts us to danger. We don't remain unmoved because we've evolved to respond to the sight of blood, and for some, it creates an overreaction in their body, known as the vasovagal syncope, where their heart and blood pressure fluctuates, quickly causing them to lose consciousness. Even when we see an injury in movies, our own blood can increase the levels of clotting, as if to prepare ourselves from an incoming wound. So for blood to create an effective reaction in us, it has to look believable on the screen. This can depend on a few factors, like the amount of blood or color that's being used. Some filmmakers prefer to stick to realism, opting for darker shades and limiting the amount of leaking from an injury. But others choose more saturated and vibrant hues and an unmeasured arterial approach. This could be a stylistic choice, but if not balanced correctly, it can take us out of the realm of believability, making a left turn into parody. Unless that's what you're going for. A great example of the limited use of blood is the shower scene from Psycho. Although this restriction was not self-imposed, it came from the Hays production code, where at that time you couldn't show much of any blood. It was a very sterilized way of portraying violence, and yet Alfred Hitchcock managed to tiptoe around these restrictions by using our minds to fill in the blanks of the violence. We think we see a wound and more blood than there is. There are no injuries on the character's body or even blood on the knife. He uses quick cuts, atmosphere, and music, suggesting the blood instead of actually showing it. The only blood we do get to see is in the water. We know the character is dying without showing a gaping wound, only the dark blood in the water, creating a contrast with the clear white of the bathtub escaping through the drain. But that doesn't mean you must restrict yourself with the use of blood to make something effective. You can also use an extreme volume. Here, the amount of blood is exaggerated, but it never goes into parody. The meaning Kubrick must have had is left to our imagination, but the emotions the scene evokes is undeniable. The impossible amount of blood is meant to make you feel the weight of death. It's like an open wound welcoming the Torrance family and drowning them within its history of trauma. However, blood isn't only meant to be used as a result of violence. It carries its own meaning. Blood is vitality, vigor, and life. When it comes to vampires, it's a corruption of this nature. The relationship vampires have with blood is the inversion of Christian symbolism. The blood of Christ represents eternal life, but vampires transgress this by feasting on the blood of humans to prolong their undead state. One represents salvation and the other damnation. A similar denaturing can be observed with the anti-human alien xenomorph, whose blood is not a symbol of life, but a corrosive, destructive sign of death. For vampires, it's also their means of reproduction by spreading their corruption. This is also true with how zombies multiply. Blood becomes an impurity, an agent of contamination. It plays with our fears of the subtle threat we have no control over and can take away our body and our mind, like an illness or even an ideology. If blood represents everything we are, then being infiltrated by the DNA of an outside force could also play with our fear of the other.
We're gonna draw a little bit of everybody's blood. Because we're gonna find out who's the thing.
Our identity being taken over by an unknown agent, changing us into something we fear. But blood isn't only about negative transformation. It can also be about natural change. In Carrie, it's about her entering puberty but feeling ashamed about it. The taboo surrounding it stigmatizes her natural change and makes it about humiliation.
Mama, I was so scared. I thought I was done, and the girls, they all laughed at me and threw things at me.
And he was weak. Say it.
No, Mama.
He was weak.
It continues being a sign of shame when she's doused in pig's blood, but it then becomes her moment of empowerment. The bloodbath she causes is her coming of age as she finally takes agency, coming into her own body and powers. This change can also be compared to the bathroom scene in It.
Change.
The It monster is exploiting children's fears, and for Beverly, it's her fear of entering womanhood. She knows her change is attracting her father, so she rejects it by cutting her hair and hiding her period, but the It monster brings it to the surface. The blood is the change she can't hide. For filmmakers that want to create fear, blood should be used as a tool to evoke the various emotions that are connected to it. Just like screams, our expectations, or eyes, they are the elements of horror that can be used to extract what we've come to be afraid of over generations. We have an unconscious history of fears programmed within us, living in our blood and waiting to be drawn out. Thank you for taking the time to watch our video. We invite you to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't done so yet. For the next video, we'll be going back to our normal format, and we'll be adding a fourth part to our much beloved doomed romance series. So set your notifications to know what the movie is going to be about. Today's musical composition was made by Eduardo Gonzalez. If you like his work, you can find his information down in the description. And also, if you wish to support our channel so we can keep making videos like this one, then please check out our Patreon page. Until next time.